How did 4 cheap rockets crack a fortress of radar and missiles? Clue 1. A radar glare no one was supposed to see. Clue 2. A launcher outrunning its own death sentence. Clue 3. A quiet programmed bank, 15 degrees, that unraveled TOR's intercept math. At a blind sector, a split Pantsir salvo, and a target stacked like a powder keg. We'll reconstruct the night, every pivot, every pause, until the moment the roof simply vanished. Keep watching to uncover the maneuver, the timing, and the one broken rule that made the impossible happen. To understand how we got here, we rewind to the moment the clock began. At 10:30 p.m. local time, on September 7, 2025, a Ukrainian Vila M crew near Prosk prepared a guided strike. They had orders to hit the Kartisk ammunition depot, a target reported to feed multiple fronts. Then their receivers lit up. Electromagnetic emissions matching a Russian Zoopark M1 counter-battery radar about 38 kilometers away. What began as an ordinary fire mission turned into a survival drill. The operator recognized the search cycle pattern at once. According to standard estimates for that system, outgoing fire can be detected out to roughly 23 kilometers, and launch points can be derived in about 30 seconds. On that math, they judged they had 6 minutes before BM-30 Smerch rockets would arrive. Their 12-tube Vila M launcher carried 4 missiles assigned to the depot. The crew chief called emergency launch. Gunners scrambled to upload GPS coordinates. Each Vila M demanded precise target data from Ukrainian Special Drone Forces, Typhoon Unit, said to be operating inside Russian territory. Those coordinates, encrypted and passed to a guidance package, normally took 3 minutes to stage. Tonight, they tried to compress it into 90 seconds. The Vilka M, Ukraine's most advanced domestically built rocket system, attributed to the Kiev Design Bureau, weighs in heavy. Each missile is around 800 kilograms with a warhead near 170 kilograms, built to punch reinforced concrete. The guidance stack layers GPS, Russia's GLONASS equivalent, and inertial navigation, yielding 10 to 30 meters accuracy at range, with a reported cost on the order of $300,000 per missile. At 10:32, reports say Russian GPS band jamming surged. Without live confirmation, the crew had to trust pre-surveyed coordinates within 5 meters. Then at 10:33, thermal sensors flagged heat blooms roughly 32 kilometers northeast. Smerch launchers had fired. A Smerch rocket can sprint near 1,200 meters per second, meaning impact in about 4 minutes. The Vila M autoloader could ready 1 missile about every 20 seconds. They still needed to fire all 4 before they moved. Manufacturer guidance recommends 45-second gaps to avoid thermal damage. They had only 30 seconds. At 10:34, the first missile thundered from its tube, a signature visible to every radar within 50 kilometers. The crew did not pause to watch. The gunner primed the second shot while the driver brought the 8x8 transporter alive. Doctrine called for displacement within 90 seconds of the first shot, but the mission came first. The second missile left at approximately 10:34:30, leaving a broad thermal plume picked up by Russian infrared surveillance. According to their display, the Zoopark 1M had fixed their position within 50 meters and pushed coordinates to multiple fire units. Incoming whistled thin in the night, 30 seconds to impact. At 10:35, the third missile went. Overpressure broke windows in buildings 200 meters away. The launcher's thermal coating crazed with stress fractures from the rapid cadence. 1 shot remained. The driver wound the engine to 2,200 RPM, ready to launch and run. 30 seconds later, the fourth Vila M roared just as the first Smerch rocket smashed 400 meters north. The 30-ton vehicle lurched forward while rockets bracketed their old grid. Every Russian unit within 100 kilometers now had them on the net. But 4 precision missiles were already sprinting toward Kartisk at roughly 1,100 meters per second. At around 10:40, the lead Vila M descended through 8,000 meters toward the forward edge of Russian air defenses. Its onboard computer updated navigation dozens of times per second while assessing attempts to corrupt GPS receivers. In 1 minute, it would either deliver or become wreckage over Donbass. As soon as it crossed into Russian-held airspace, the guidance sensed degraded GPS. Signal-to-noise ratios dipped below thresholds and the logic switched to GLONASS. Jamming hit there too, creating a radio fog meant to blind precision weapons. Within half a second, the Vela M fell back to inertial navigation, its fiber-optic gyros holding heading with austere discipline. 28 kilometers ahead, a TORM-2 air defense vehicle picked up the track on surveillance radar. The operator watched a fast descent through 6,000 meters, well inside engagement parameters. Fire control locked near 104115, a phased array pumping power into the missile's small radar cross-section. The TORM-2 is built to kill threats like this. Its 9 M338 interceptors can work targets from low altitude up to 10,000 meters, with reaction times counted in single-digit seconds. On paper, a predictable target at Mach 2.8 would be easy. But the missile did not fly like a line on a diagram. At about 10:42, its guidance ran a programmed bank left, 15 degrees, while keeping the descent angle. That minor deformation shifted it outside the pre-computed intercept window. The operator fired anyway. 2 9 M338s screamed off 30 seconds later. The first interceptor chased a predicted meeting point. The Vela M bent again, 20 degrees right with a touch of pitch change, and the solution unraveled. Seeing the miss developing, the crew shifted to manual track. The screen read 3,000 meters altitude, 18 kilometers slant range, under a minute to impact. A Pantsir S, 112 kilometers east, began scanning. The second salvo did better. Proximity fuses reportedly detonated within 50 meters of the missile, close enough to shove the trajectory, but not kill guidance or warhead. Accelerometers caught the bump, the computer corrected. As the lead missile dropped through 1,500 meters, the second Vela M entered the same battlespace half a minute behind. The TOR team still had 4 interceptors, and now faced 2 fast threats in compression. Doctrine favors the closest target. Handling 2 almost simultaneously at high speed can exceed what anyone's system does well. The Pantsir S1 tried to shoulder in, but the incoming track approached from the edge of a blind sector, adding delay. By the time its 57 E6 missiles stood ready, the first target had skimmed under 500 meters into terrain mass corridors where interception becomes a dice throw. At 10:49, the lead Vela M moved into terminal 8 kilometers from the Kartisk depot. Multiple Russian air defense systems converged sensors and poured energy through the volume. 45 seconds would judge months of collection, planning, and risk. The TOR crew had one last look before the ridge. Track updates showed the missile hugging ground, masked by a ragged line of relief. In 15 seconds, it would clear the crest and commit. The operator held his last missiles for that point. 3 kilometers south, a Pantsir S1 finally gained a cleaner track. Carrying 57 E6 missiles nominally out to 20 kilometers, the crew had watched the target below 1,000 meters but fought clutter and interference. The phased array cycled, hunting for a lock that would hold. The depot relied on a ZSU-23-4 Shilka in the northern position for final protection. Its 4 23mm autocannons can spray upwards of 3,000 rounds a minute, a lethal curtain against low flight. The gunner aimed at the expected approach, but radar fire control struggled to separate the missile from background chaos. At a closure near 300 meters per second, engagement time would be 3 heartbeats. At 10:49, the Vela M crested as predicted. The remaining TOR missiles launched immediately, streaking toward the intercept as the target dropped to roughly 380 meters with 12 seconds left. Then the second Vela appeared 2 kilometers north on the same ridge. Startled, the Pantsir crew split fire, 3 missiles to each threat. Doctrine says concentrate, but surprise bends doctrine. Their command-guided interceptors needed about 8 seconds. Splitting the salvo slashed probability. The lead missile's warhead armed near 200 meters altitude, a radar altimeter refining the last corrections. Below, ammunition handlers ran, forklifts abandoned, crates of 122mm rockets left mid-move. At about 10:50, the TOR's final pair passed within 30 meters, but fuses did not score a fatal proximity. Both detonations trailed behind the descending body. The Shilka opened up around 600 meters, tracers combing the approach in a last attempt to shred guidance surfaces. 20 seconds later, the third Vela approached from the east where coverage thinned. Across the depot, sirens drove people toward bunkers. In the next moments, the sequence cascaded. According to subsequent accounts, the lead missile's fuse sensed roofing below and detonated on contact, dropping a 170-kilogram charge that collapsed the eastern wall. Inside sat thousands of tons of ammunition primed for catastrophe. Shock rolled through pallets of 152mm shells. Heat flashed into propellant charges. Within 300 milliseconds, the first secondary blast went. 30 seconds later, the second Vela struck the northern warehouse, punching through the roof into crates of BM-21 Grad rockets. The impact reportedly ignited half a dozen rockets and heaved a 15-ton roof like a storm lifting a sheet of tin. The third missile hit the western warehouse around 10:50-20, among stocks described as 9 M22 rockets with submunitions. Heat and pressure ran chain reactions that crushed supports and sprayed burning fuel across the yard. By 10:51, fire found the prized S-300 surface-to-air missile stockpile stored in containers. Each held a large explosive section and solid fuel. The blast pounded Kartisk city center 3 kilometers away and shattered glass. The fourth Vela reached the target area at roughly 10:52, but its assigned warehouse was already gone. Programmed for that point, it plunged into the fire and added to the destruction. Solid motors cooked off and burst around the compound while firefighters held back. At about 10:55, an underground bunker of heavy rockets exploded, carving a 40-meter crater. By 11:10, 4 fires still raged where warehouses had stood. According to multiple statements, nearly 3,000 tons of ammunition were lost, weeks of artillery erased in minutes. What began at 10:30 as a routine launch sprinted through detection, counter-battery, and layered air defenses to a result measured in shock fronts and silence. The crew that touched off the sequence will likely never be named, but that night, they threaded a maze of jamming, radar, missiles, and seconds that broke like glass. Why does it matter beyond the blast? Because the duel between precision and protection defines modern war. Because every jammer forces a fallback and every fallback needs craft. Because interception is never certain when guidance can think, maneuver, and persist. And because logistics, not just lines on a map, decide what breaks next. According to open reports from both sides, the defenses were world-class. Tor M2, Pantsir S1, guns, radar, the full stack. And still overload, angle, and timing carved a path through. The price of 4 missiles looked small beside the value in those warehouses. Months of stock, weeks of barrages, a strategy pushed off balance. Will lessons stick? Crews will shift launch cadence. Defenders will guard blind sectors. Counter-battery radars will hunt for fresher signatures. Guidance software will learn new maneuvers. In the measure-countermeasure rhythm, nothing stays fixed for long, and yet one constant remains, the human clock. 6 minutes to displacement, 30 seconds between shots, 12 seconds in the terminal, 3 heartbeats at 600 meters. In every interval, a person decides whether to risk one more action before moving. Somewhere, a new crew runs the same drill, checks the same cables, and watches the same spectrum. Somewhere, another radar paints a target and starts an answer moving. The next contest will feel different, but it will rhyme with this one. If you want more stories that trace the pressure lines between technology and choice, consider the follow-up on deep strikes versus dispersed storage, and how depots adapt once the first explosion rewrites the plan. Until then, stay safe, take care, and if this helped you understand the stakes, you know what to do now.